Hello and welcome to Chess Book Reviews 129. Before we start, the bit I always ask for, please like and subscribe down below. I've gained a couple of members recently and I'm very grateful to newcomers, but it's not the same. Even though you think you're a member, you possibly aren't, because this is the third of the group. This is the number 3 group. The other two I couldn't reach. So please like and subscribe. I've just received the American Chess magazine. They send it to me. Here it is. So what I'm going to do is open it up, a blind tasting, an unboxing, if you will, and let's see what it's like. Exciting, isn't it? Just like Christmas. Oh my God, it is Christmas. Seems to have been glued inside the jiffy bag. Maybe not. Oh, right. Well, got a quiet, subdued cover. Oh, looks like the circus is in town. Don't like any of this. It's hardly in keeping with a chess magazine. I don't think so. 60 Years Journey. The Big Boss Tells All. Once Upon a Time in American Chess. I don't know who the big boss is. Bill Goichberg. Maybe. Anyway. We draw nearer. There's an interview with Bill Goichberg by John Jacobs. Level but thrilling. So they're still talking about the World Championship, which hasn't ended yet in their publication, though we know that it has. It wasn't that long ago. So there we are. They're starting at game 1 and they're moseying on to game 6, I think. Yes, game 6. So that's the first 6 in that. Let's see what we've got here in BCM. I suspect an interview. But I'm just interested to see World Championship games. Sorry about the delay, but I didn't prepare anything. The US Championships, which isn't a strong event. I'm going to look at the November issue. That was the December issue. I'm going to look at the November issue and see what I've got there. By way of comparison, because I'm here's the November BCM. Which I think I showed you before, but here I'm interested in the games. So let's see what we've got. No World Championship games at all. That's very odd. Previous clashes between the two players, which is very valuable. So I'm not mocking it, but on the other hand, interview with the heir apparent, which is good, isn't it? That's the thing about. Yeah. So I see nothing in here. And surprisingly, I see nothing in here. Norm's asked about surrealism from Duchamp's Pipe, which is a book I've got, and it's primarily not about chess, but nevertheless, Duchamp was an international chess player, rather prone to green draws. No, I can't see anything. Anyway, if you ever see these two on the newsstands, they'll jump out at you. But I don't know that you would guess that they were chess magazines. Anyway, there's that. Let's see how this is, in fact, the January issue of Chess with Mr. Jones on the cover, who's just won the London Classic, but that's not what we're concentrating on. Out the moon. I want to see what World Championship games we've got. Understandably, since chess is concerned with Malcolm, they're talking about the opening ceremony, Gwaine winning the London Classic, all good stuff. And Daniel King talking about the Olympiad and an interview with Gwaine Jones, who has taken on his late wife's second name. I won't presume to try and pronounce it because, as usual, I don't have that degree of articulacy. Well, I can't find any World Championship games, but I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are to be found, but maybe not here. So there we are. So the magazine that comes through strongest is American Chess Magazine, which has got the first 6 games in it. So there you are. This is what we started with, wasn't it? Yes. Another French affair, game 5, in other words, a French defense. Yes. And this is an exchange French. Don't expect to see that in a World Championship match. Symmetrical pawns, release of tension in the center. The long-awaited World Championship match kicked off in Singapore on the 25th of November, and with a bang. Yes, I'd like to count up the number of World Championship matches in which the loser wins the opening game. That's quite an interesting little study in itself. I haven't got an answer for you, but there are several. Light notes to the game, commentary as well, and photos. Yes, it pieces out after a page and a half, so it's not exactly shining his microscopes on it. Big advert for chess-based training, which you may want. I definitely want it, actually. I don't know. My hand on me. There it is. There you are. Here's the editorial. Hans Neumann above the 2700 level, and they're talking about US juniors, young men and women, mostly young men. And they're talking about the Spice Cup, which is, I think the initiative of the Bulgars. I think so. Here we are with Kaiser's impresario, which is Mr. Bill Goichberg, of whom I hope you've heard already. Here's an old picture with Robert Byrne, Kim Commons, Larry Evans, Kavalek at Haifa 76, where they scooped gold in the absence of the Russians. There they are with the cup, and there they are, we must assume, in Israel. England came third, which wasn't too bad, was it? You doubtless heard people say it's a conflict of interest, unacceptable for the owner of the biggest chess tournament organization to also hold the major policy role in the Chess Federation. How do you rebut that? Rebut that. I'm sorry. Well, when I say I was running for the board, I say when I'm running that I run the CCA and that we're the biggest tournament organizer and so forth. And if people don't like it, they don't have to vote for me. And the thing is, most of the voters did like that. Most chess players think there should be more tournaments. Most chess players think those who run big tournaments, that's good for chess. Well, I'm sorry, that's not particularly wonderful answer, but it was a fairly straightforward question, which possibly he didn't welcome. I don't know. It's more and more from Bill Goichberg. And more from Bill Goichberg about meeting Bobby Fischer. Did you ever meet Bobby Fischer? Yes, quite a few times. Fischer adjudicated games in the US Amateur, and I was working for the USCF at the time. I spoke to him many times when I was working for the Federation as racing statistician. He would come into the office. You're the only gym that doesn't ask me what my rating is. Every other GM came into the office and say, "What's my latest rating?" I do not care what my rating is. I'm the best player around, says Bobby. He was certainly that, wasn't he, in the office? More from Bill Goichberg again. Some games. Has been sidelined in recent years by health issues. Advanced age, he is 82 on the 11th of November. Here's some old games, one against Walter Brown, the other against Mr. Samuel Greenberg. And here are the FIDE ratings for 2024 December. And at number 1 in the world is Magnus Carlsen. The lady top player is Hu Ifan. The top US player is Caruana. And the top US woman player is Carissa Yip at 2-4-3-2. Let's face it, it's not too scruffy. That's pretty good. Here's Mr. Agard, who's as cheerful as me. There he is. He runs Quality Chess, amongst other things. Knowing him, he does other things as well. But he is the brains behind an amazing setup. Here we are with some games which Agard has selected. Talking about opening ideas, which includes pushing the G-pawn where it can be taken by every piece in creation of the Black Armory. Talking about the Sicilian with h5, early h5. Not that too early. Not Hugh Myers. Here's Mr. Caruana, looking cheerful with the trophy. I expect his mantle shelf groans with medals and awards and trophies. Article about chess psychology, quite useful, I would thought. 4 categories: activists, pragmatists, theorists, and reflectors. The in-game as a sport. I'm told this section, my fish bean, is that what they call it, is just about the best endgame section ever, even surpassing presumably Benko's Bafflers from long ago. Here is a man that's going to be weighing in very heavily in the World Championship cycle. You must get used to his face. And I hastily add, learn from his play. Why not? An article about who is the world champion. I thought we knew. What about the Spice Cup? US Championships. Yep. Book reviews by Carsten Hansen. Well, there's a book I would like. Deadline Grandmaster, a memoir. One of the most illustrious authors around today is the American Grandmaster Andrew Soltis. This is his autobiography. Interview with Liam Kwang Lee. About whom I'm afraid I don't know anything, but that's all the more good reason to look at it. So there we are, an article, an advert for Chess Base 18. I've shown you BCM already, but I'll do it again. There we are. This is the December issue, which arrived nice and early. Well done, BCM. Well done. There's a women's championship and Carissa Yip once again, wearing a leather jacket and holding a biro. There she is. Let's just look at the contents. The biggest thing with chess is not to have delusions of grandeur. And there he is, the greatest US player since Fischer, if not of all time. As an interview with Nakamura. Picture of Alekhine. saying his use of the Slav was a bluff. Well, if you're in a queen pawn opening, if you're not certain what to do, d5 and c6 are pretty good standbys, and you can lock the centre with e6, or you can start moving out your minor pieces and prepare to castle. I'm not sure I would call it a bluff. I wouldn't. A walk through parks, clubs and history by Mr. Dinich, who is the editor, isn't he? And there's one of the parks, always looking charming and in nice weather. The dappled sunlight coming through. There we are. You can always find some willing opponents, people watching and so forth, and no doubt commenting too, as I would. There we are. That's BCM, and that's the December issue, which came out nice and early. Now, let's continue our journey. Here we have Mr. Jones, as I said before. One thing you're not going to be able to do is keep up with the Joneses. He has had a great success in winning the London Classic. It was only a small tournament. I think it was 8 players, all play all, but nevertheless very strong. The 14th XTX Market London Chess Classic. In other words, thumbs up to the sponsors. The venue was the Emirates Stadium, home of Arsenal FC, worked wonderfully well, with Peters Fiddler and Lawrence Trent holding court on the social chess area as the commentary went out simultaneously on YouTube and Twitch. I don't think anyone would argue with that, Malcolm. Having been looking through the World Championship coverage, chess has given game 14. I don't quite know why, because it's in another section. It all remained was to auction off memorabilia. This is from the, as we went to press, the World Chess Championship was settled by a terrible blunder on the 14th game. Yes. At the resorts Sentosa in Singapore, as Ding Niren of China ceded the title. Yes, he did. And Gu Kesh at 18 becomes the youngest holder of undisputed world title in the history of the game. Yes, it does. And here are the guys reporting from Singapore. Junior Tay. Junior Tay, I remember as an Everyman author. Some years back, actually. What fanfare? Here he is next to Maurice Ashley. And there's a note about the players, a rather unconvincing photograph of them all crammed in and could be anywhere. Bukesh's meticulous preparation stood out, gave him a huge edge in the early games. It is clear that a strong team of secret seconds enabled him to enter each game with detailed strategies, although one might question the choice of the exchange French essayed in game 5, where Ding as black seized the initiative in the middle game. Yes, well, never mind. Golden Gwain. And these are games from the London Classic, of course. Andrew Ledger talking about Simon Williams. Here's Simon. He's a regular online, isn't he? Ginger GM, and I like to listen to him. He can be very entertaining, but he also has a serious side, so I wouldn't knock it. Daniel King talking about Gouda, Polish, I think, isn't he? An interview with Gwen. Place of residence, Sheffield. Mainly dad, Samaria, and mainly dad. His occupation. I'm also what they call a contented creator and sometime chess player. Yes, he struggles with his kids. Tap for a club player. Think about your play. Don't merely follow the computer. This applies both to opening choices and starting the game afterwards. Okay. Interview. Find the winning moves. Lots of things to puzzle about. So you set these up on your board if you can't do it immediately. And for quality chess. Some books I haven't seen yet. A quiz. From Graham Pithian. The gentleman who once wrote to me, actually. An article about Bon Chance. Looks like Sherlock Holmes. By Carl Barlow III. Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson talking about chess. And here's Ray Keane and Tony Miles falling out with each other. That's Mr. Rossalimo. I think in the end fell downstairs, having had one drink too many. He was a taxi driver, but he was also a grandmaster. Things people do to get him a crusty, says he, who runs a laundry. Here's an article about Stahlberg. Enormous thanks for the loan of the book on Stahlberg to Graham Stewart. Book reviews by Sean Marsh. That was worth reading. Pierre Cramling. Never mind the Grandmasters. Mr. Portman. Paul Littlewood again. Terry Chapman talking about Porto Santo. Lots of home news. And the death, very sad, of international master Adam Hunt. More book reviews, which I always enjoy. Occasionally write, of course, but not for them. And finally, John Saunders talking about the world title. John always has an alternative viewpoint. Don't always agree with it, but you have to respect his knowledge and confidence, I think you would say. He's a confident person. And so there we are. Worth liking and subscribing. So there's chess. Here's BCM. And here is ACM. which is published in America, of course. Thank you very much for your time. In case I haven't said it already, and I know that I have, please like and subscribe. And I wish you a very happy New Year.